Good morning, students.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning.
Good morning. We were doing on the first day when we started this chapter, we had divided the human body to study hormones into how many sections?
Yeah,
Three.
Three sections. The first section was which one?
Head.
Head region.
Head had how many glands?
Three glands.
Name them, beta. Name them.
Hypothalamus,
Hypothalamus, pineal, and pituitary gland.
Okay. What was the second part of the body that we had?
neck region.
Neck part.
How many glands?
Three.
Name them.
Thyroid,
Parathyroid, and thymus gland.
Okay, so we are left with the lower part of the body now, where we are going to have how many glands, if anybody remembers?
Two. Adrenal and pancreas.
2.
Only two, and then we'll go down about the reproductive glands also. If we can include them also in this, what would it be?
4.
4.
Four. Very good. So basically, if you see, you remember. See, beta, when we talk about the deleted syllabus, has anybody checked out with the deleted syllabus of biology class 11? No.
No,
Nobody
ma'am.
checked?
No, ma'am.
Acha, nobody has seen on the net the deleted syllabus.
Yes,
You all are
ma'am.
very-
I have seen. Ma'am, I
You have
have the syllabus. I haven't seen.
Okay, you have, but you haven't seen. That's interesting. Children, see chapter 1, most of the part is deleted. That I have already done with you. Okay, now see what it is basically. Chapter 3, again, angiosperms, classification, characteristic features of angiosperms are all deleted. But we have already done this part. Let's move on to chapter 5, morphology of flowering plants. There also all the modifications, morphology of roots, stem, leaves, fruits, description of family Fabaceae. It is all again out of syllabus. But again, the same thing, chapter 5, we have already done. I'm just telling you that most of the part we've already done. So what is the part which is left and which will not be covering as of now? So I'm just discussing that part with you. Let's come to chapter 6, anatomy of flowering plants, different tissues, monocot, secondary growth. This is all deleted, but we have done this chapter. Coming to
Yes.
chapter 7, structural organization in animals. This is one chapter which is basically we have all the different systems, that is digestive, circulatory, respiratory, nervous and reproductive system of an insect. That is cockroach is entirely deleted. So when we'll study chapter 7, we will not study about cockroach. The insect part, that is cockroach, is deleted. Is it okay, children? We are just saying that how much syllabus is left, what all has to be done, that all I'm discussing today. We'll be doing chapter 7, but we will not be covering which part which is not there in your syllabus now.
Cockroach.
Cockroach, all systems have been deleted from the syllabus. Let me talk about chapter 11. Almost the entire chapter is deleted, chapter 11, transport in plants, but we have done the chapter. I'll post the syllabus deleted portion for you people on the group also. Then chapter 12, mineral nutrition. Essential minerals, macronutrients, micronutrients, nitrogen cycle, nitrogen fixation, nitrogen metabolism, mineral nutrition, most of the parts, symptoms. We had done deficiency symptoms. All this part is again deleted. Yes, beta.
Ma'am, Ritul is in waiting room. Ma'am, please let her in. Come in.
Beta, why don't you join on time? There is a limit given to us by the authorities, children. So we are also questioned later. Only 5 minutes we are allowed, and it is already 7 minutes. Anyways, I'm allowing today, but it is maximum 5 minutes limit which is given to us. After that, we are supposed to log the meeting. So I was discussing about chapter 12 beta. We have already done the entire thing. Then chapter 13 and 14, nothing is cut. Okay, the entire chapter is there in the syllabus. Nothing is cut in chapter 13 and 14. And we have done both the chapters. They're difficult chapters and nothing is deleted from them. Chapter 15 is entirely, again, most of the part is cut in chapter 15. Differentiation, development issues, seed dormancy, vernalization, photoperiodism, dedifferentiation, redifferentiation, all these conditions, all these topics have been again cut from this chapter, chapter 15. See, beta, only 30% syllabus is cut. That is the reason so much of your part is cut. Now I'm coming to the last unit, that is human physiology. Please, you have to tick on this. 3 chapters are deleted. Chapter 16, 20 and 21. Only 1 or 2 topics in this chapter are there. Please note down these chapters. Chapter 16, that is digestion and absorption. Chapter 20, that is locomotion and movement. And chapter 21, that is neural control and coordination. Most of the topics, 90% of this chapter are deleted. These 3 chapters. But whatever best possible, how much ever time I have, I'll try and cover it up. I'm not saying that we leave everything, because later you'll have problems. I'll try my best, whatever best I can, according to time slot that I have. Okay, beta, we are moving on to the last part of the human body. We are going to discuss the last glands which are left. Can I have very quickly the name of the glands in the lower part of the human body? Very quickly again.
Adrenal,
pancreas,
adrenal and pancreas,
ovaries.
testes and ovaries.
Okay, there was somebody who said that they have the deleted syllabus but have not seen it. Who was it?
I have the PDF and I'm seeing it.
I too have.
So post it on the group for the convenience of others, beta. Okay. One of you post it on the group. There is some problem in my laptop today. I called somebody to get it done. So if one of you post it for others, yeah, today I've called one of you, please post it. I've called somebody to check out there's some problem in the laptop which is coming, especially for screen sharing, recording. There are some issues which are coming. So today I'll call somebody. Let's do very quickly. Adrenal glands.
Ritul is still out of the meeting.
Very also, she's saying that she's from 11:35 in the waiting room.
But I
Yes,
cannot
ma'am.
see the waiting room. See, it is not showing. Nobody's.
Ma'am, don't know, ma'am, but she's saying that she's waiting from 11:35 only.
Can you see anyone? I am to admitting all. I had admitted everybody. Can you see somebody in the waiting room? Hmm?
Ma'am, we cannot see the waiting room. It's
It is
only
not showing only 12 participants. It is not. It is showing. I cannot see anybody in the waiting room. I've
host can
tried.
see.
But I'm not able to see anybody there.
Maybe she's joining another meeting link.
Oh God.
Ma'am, where he is saying it is still showing waiting on her phone.
Vaidehi,
Ma'am, Prabhav is also there.
wait a second.
Ariba also.
Yes, ma'am, 3 students are there.
Now I can see. Now it is showing. Earlier it was not coming only. Now 3 people are there. Yes. Admit all. Let me enter all. Beta, please don't come late. When you have a break of 15 minutes, then at least report sharp at 11:30. So much of time is wasted like this. Please everybody join at 11:30 only so that we can save on some time better. Let's talk about the last topic, the last parts of the gland, that is the adrenal gland. We know that our body has a pair of adrenal glands and each is located at the anterior part of the kidney. Each kidney. How many kidneys does a human being have?
Two.
Two kidneys. So similarly, we have two adrenal glands, each located at the anterior part of each kidney. Okay, beta? So we've got how many adrenal glands in the human body?
Two.
Two. Just remember that you can associate it one with each kidney. If we talk about the structure of adrenal gland, it is something conical in shape. If you can see on the screen over here, it's something looks like a cone over here. Okay. So it's something conical yellowish bodies which are composed of two types of tissues. We have two types of tissues in adrenal gland. Number one, the adrenal cortex. We are talking about the first type of tissue in the adrenal gland, that is adrenal cortex. It's a very strong, firm, pale yellow colored tissue which is derived from the mesoderm of embryo. We remember abhi tak we had done ectoderm and endoderm origin. All the glands of the head, I told you yesterday, what origin?
Ectoderm.
Very good. And all the glands that we had in the neck region were what origin?
Endoderm.
Endoderm. Remember. And now we are coming to the lower part. So you will see a new thing coming up here, that the origin is mesoderm. I had discussed about primary germ layers with you in the previous classes. So beta, adrenal cortex, very strong, pale yellow color tissues, which are made from which layer of the embryo?
Mesoderm.
Mesoderm. So this, we are talking about, come to this, adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex is again divided into three concentric layers. You know what are concentric circles?
Yes, ma'am.
Concentrated within each other.
And which have same center but different radii.
Yeah. Same center and different radii. So we're talking about three concentric layers over here. The first layer is called as zona reticularis. Please pronounce it.
Zona
reticularis.
बेटा हम कैसे स्टडी करेंगे, इनर टू आउटर. दिस इज हाउ वी आर स्टार्टिंग. ठीक है, सबसे अंदर वाला सबसे छोटा वाला गोला. इफ आई टॉक अबाउट कॉन्सेंट्रिक सर्कल्स, इफ यू इमेजिन अबाउट कॉन्सेंट्रिक सर्कल्स एंड द इनर मोस्ट वन, सबसे छोटा वाला सर्कल दैट यू हैव, let us name it as zona reticularis. The cells are arranged in a net like fashion. So you can imagine yourself, you've got three circles. सबसे अंदर वाला, the smallest one, that is the innermost layer, is called as zona reticularis. And what kind of cells we'll have in that?
Net-like fashion.
Okay. Now from inner we are going to outer. So the next layer which is going to come is called as zona fasciculata. Please pronounce it.
Zona
Zona
fasciculata.
fasciculata.
The middle layer, and it is the widest of all three layers. Widest means broad, सबसे ज़्यादा broad. It is zona fasciculata, the middle layer. And now let's go on to the outermost layer. Its name is zona glomerulosa. Speak out.
Zona glomerulosa.
Yes,
Zona
glomerulosa.
glomerulosa.
Zona
Yes.
glomerulosa.
And the zona glomerulosa is also very special because it is again made up of very closely, very compactly arranged cells in 5 layers. अब जल्दी से करते हैं very quickly. We are talking about the 2 types of tissues in adrenal gland. The first type of tissue I'm discussing is adrenal cortex. They are firm tissues which are derived from which layer of the embryo?
Mesoderm.
Mesoderm. They are arranged in the form of which kind of layers?
Concentric
Sub-
layers.
Yes,
Concentric.
The inner layer is known as,
Zona reticularis.
Zona reticularis.
and the cells of this inner layer are arranged in which fashion?
Net-like
Neck-like
fashion.
fashion.
Net-like fashion.
The middle layer is very important because it is the widest of all the 3 layers, and it's called as
Zona
Zona
fasciculata.
fasciculata. And the innermost layer is also very special because it is made up of 5 small layers, and this layer is known as.
Zona glomerulosa.
Zona glomerulosa.
So the hormones secreted by these 3 layers of adrenal cortex are collectively called as corticoids. Whether they are produced in this layer or this layer or this layer together, सबको एक साथ we are going to take them. So cortex, the hormones which are produced by adrenal cortex are known as corticoids. So what are corticoids? Hormones which are produced by which tissue of the adrenal gland?
Adrenal cortex.
Adrenal cortex.
Adrenal cortex. It doesn't make a difference कि ये inner layer है या middle है या outermost layer है. All of them together, all the entire cortex, the hormones which are produced are called corticoids. Okay, beta. These groups of steroid hormones are secreted by adrenal cortex. Let us see which are the hormones which are produced or which are the corticoids which are produced. Everybody knows what is corticoid?
Yes, ma'am.
Before I go and tell you about the hormones, the corticoids, I'm doing very quickly with you. We are talking about the adrenal gland. In adrenal gland also, we have basically how many kinds of tissues?
Two.
Two types of tissues.
See, beta, 1 week has already gone in this chapter, 7 days. Last Monday, you finished your exams and we started the classes. So this entire week, this chapter is taken, and I don't mind. I'm going so slow because you learn it with me. It is a rote learning chapter. And जब तक आप बोलेंगे नहीं तो learn नहीं होगा. So which is the first kind of tissue quickly?
Adrenal cortex.
Adrenal cortex.
Derived from which layer of the embryo?
Mesoderm.
Mesoderm.
Mesoderm. And this is further divided into how many concentric layers?
3.
Three.
If I start from the innermost where the cells are net-like in fashion, that layer is known as,
Zona reticularis.
Reticulata.
which is the middle layer.
Zona
Fasciculata.
What is special about the middle layer?
It is the widest
It
of
is the
all.
widest of all 3.
And the third one is very special because the cells are compactly again arranged into sublayers, 5 sublayers, and the layer is called, outermost is called.
Zona
Zona
glomerulosa.
glomerulosa.
And the hormones which are produced by all the 3 layers together, that means the hormones which are produced by the adrenal cortex together are called as
Corticoids.
corticoids. So we are going to talk about corticoids now. The first most important one I'm talking about is mineralocorticoids. What is the first kind of corticoid we are taking up as? Mineralocorticoid or aldosterone. Okay, what is the other name for this? Aldosterone. They regulate the balance of water and electrolytes in our body. This is the major mineralocorticoid found in our body. So if you break this word, mineralocorticoid, the corticoid which controls minerals. And we know what is a corticoid. Everybody knows what is a corticoid. So the corticoid which controls minerals, mineralocorticoid. Which minerals we are talking about? The major minerals, the electrolytes in our body. The balance of these electrolytes in water is controlled by this one. The name is mineralocorticoid. This aldosterone is the major mineralocorticoid which is found in our body. It acts on the renal tubules. Where will you find renal tubules?
Kidneys.
Very good. Very
Kidneys.
good. Yes. It will help in the reabsorption of which minerals? Which mineral in the kidney?
Calcium.
नहीं, यहाँ पे we are talking about sodium. Calcium वाला
Like
अलग था बेटा. Calcium one we did yesterday. That was a different gland. So this mineralocorticoid will mainly help in reabsorption of sodium in the kidneys, and it will also stimulate the excretion of potassium and phosphate ions from the body. So if you see, three minerals are discussed in this: sodium, potassium, phosphate. So maintaining the balance of these three minerals via corticoid, that is why it is known as a mineralocorticoid. We did not go into so much of details. Just remember mineralocorticoid, aldosterone. The main function is to control the balance of minerals in water. You can give the example of three minerals. Which examples will you give?
Sodium, potassium,
sodium,
phosphorus.
potassium, phosphate.
So the main function we have understood is maintaining the mineral balance, that is the maintaining of electrolytes, body fluid volume, because it is controlling the amount of water. So body fluid volume, osmotic pressure and blood pressure. Osmotic pressure, blood pressure will be influenced by the electrolytes present in our body. And electrolytes are being controlled by mineralocorticoids. So if you see indirect relationship, of course, in maintaining osmotic and blood pressure, but these are the main functions. So which is the first kind of corticoid we have just done? What is the name of this? Very quickly.
Mineralocorticoids.
Corticoid helps in the regulation of minerals, that is electrolytes. Name three important minerals where it is involved.
Sodium, potassium, and
Sodium,
phosphorus.
potassium, and phosphate.
Sodium, potassium, phosphate.
Excellent. So let's move on to the second. And what was the other name of mineralocorticoid?
Aldosterone.
We are moving on to the second kind of corticoid, that is known as glucocorticoids. The other name is cortisol. Okay, what is the other name we have? Cortisol. These are the hormones which control the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Gluco, from this word you can take it, gluco word. So carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. And which is the main corticoid which is found in our body? Which is the main cortisol? Which one is it? It is cortisol. Beta C, mineralocorticoids were involved in mineral balance. Glucocorticoids are basically involved in the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. The main mineralocorticoid was aldosterone, and the main glucocorticoid is cortisol. So what is the other, which is the main glucocorticoid?
Cortisol.
Cortisol.
It helps in the metabolism of which three things?
Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats.
Its function is simple. It stimulates the liver so that carbohydrate synthesis takes place from the non-carbohydrate sources like amino acids and glycerol. Normally, amino acids and glycerol are not considered to be the normal sources for producing carbohydrates. What do amino acids produce?
Proteins.
Yes, beta, proteins. Excellent. Normally, amino acids, chain of amino acids, they give you proteins. But यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? This cortisol, if there's an emergency, it is going to stimulate the liver. And it will stimulate the liver to synthesize carbohydrates from the non-carbohydrate sources. Which are the normal non-carbohydrate sources mentioned here? Amino acids and glycerol. This process by which non-carbohydrate sources also start giving carbohydrates by the stimulation of cortisols is what we call as gluconeogenesis. It's not glucogenesis. Be careful about this word. It's gluconeogenesis. Okay, what is the word? Gluconeogenesis. That means glucocorticoids, they stimulate which process? Tell me.
Gluconeogenesis.
Gluconeogenesis.
There are two more words, lipolysis and proteolysis. Please read this paragraph functions ka first point again. After 1 minute, I'll discuss with you. I'll also ask you what is lipolysis and proteolysis. Just 1 minute, try reading it, only the first point. Okay. Now tell me, this is a new word for you. Gluconeogenesis. Who will tell me what is gluconeogenesis? Come on, any one of you.
Ma'am, synthesis of
Synthesis of carbohydrate from
synthesis of carbohydrate
non-carbohydrate.
from non-carbohydrate sources.
Can you tell me what are the normally non-carbohydrate sources?
Proteins,
Amino
fats,
acid
and
and
glycogen.
Amino acids and glycerols.
Okay. So which organ is stimulated for this?
Liver.
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 And who is going to stimulate this?
Cortisol.
Glucocorticoids.
Yes, beta. Now let's move on to the term lipolysis. What is lipolysis? Any idea?
Synthesis of
Synthesis
carbohydrates
of
from
amino
lipids.
acids.
Pardon? Yes, please
Synthesis
speak
of
up.
carbohydrates from lipids.
Okay, sure. Anybody else would like to add on something from for lipolysis?
Ma'am, synthesis of glycerol from
See, beta, it's not difficult. Normally what happens is we get energy from glucose sources. But during excess exercise or in adverse conditions, we need energy. So we start taking energy from fats. Okay. Normally, fats do give you energy, but not that amount of energy which carbohydrates give you. So in different kind of conditions, we start taking what? We start taking energy from the fats. How we can take energy from the fats? First, what we do is the fats have to be broken down. Fats, basically, I'm talking about triglycerides. They're broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. So your fats are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol, and this process is what we call as lipolysis. And this process, it takes place in the cytoplasm. Now, what will happen because of oxidation here? What will be produced is some amount of energy will be released. So basically, you can say we are utilizing fats. And in earlier cases, we were utilizing what? The non-carbohydrate sources. In lipolysis, we are using fats. And what will we be using in proteolysis? Now you can guess, I'm sure.
Proteins.
Very good. Proteins. Yes, very good. Normally, what are the sources we have for energy, children? Main source?
fat and protein.
Carbohydrates. But in different conditions, we have done a process which is known as gluconeogenesis, where we have used what things for producing this?
Amino acid and
Amino
glycerol.
acids and glycerol.
Amino acid and
Similarly,
glycerol.
very good. Similarly, when we break down the proteins into amino acids, so then this process is called as proteolysis. You need not go into details. Again, I'm saying this much is not there in NCERT, but because I've seen most of your batches interested, so I take up these things. Inhibition of cellular uptake and utilization of amino acids. Utilization of amino acids, everybody understands. What is inhibition of cellular uptake? What do you mean by inhibition? Yes, beta, very good. Stopping. So cellular uptake up to a certain limit, it will allow the cell to uptake things or intake things. After that, it will start inhibiting. So basically, it is controlling. Cortisol is involved in the maintenance of cardiovascular system and in the functioning of the kidney. What is cardiovascular system?
Heart.
System related to heart.
And
System related to heart is your
Heart and
cardiovascular system. How did you get this?
I'm from
Have you
the
heard about
word
cardiovascular
Cardio.
diseases?
Cardio means heart and vascular means blood vessels.
Yes. So we are talking about heart and also the vessels, beta. So we have the branch of diseases also which are known as cardiovascular diseases. So cardiovascular diseases means there is a disease in the heart or there is a disease in the vessels. So cortisol is involved in the maintenance of cardiovascular system, kidney functioning. It produces anti-inflammatory reactions and functions in suppression of immune responses. What are inflammatory reactions? Anti-inflammatory reactions? Peter, you can always guess if you don't know. There is no punishment for guessing.
Ma'am, that
And-
causes Irritation or infection.
Something which stops the inflammation.
Something which stops the inflammation. And why is inflammation done by the body?
So that the heat in the body could come out. Inflammation means redness and at particular place. I don't know.
Basically swellings and what she's
that
trying
is-
to say is it is the response of the body. It's a kind of immunity response of the body. Okay. See, beta, we are talking about anti-inflammatory reactions. Anti-inflammatory reaction. Have you ever heard about any anti-inflammatory medicine?
Aspirin, maybe.
Aspirin, very good. All the analgesics, the pain relieving medicines are all this. And whenever there is an inflammation in the body, what does it mean? That your body is fighting against what? Whenever there is an inflammation in the body, it is an indication that your body is fighting against some harmful infection, some injury, some toxic substance which it has got in the body. Basically, your body is trying to heal itself. Okay. So this is inflammation. And now anti-inflammation. Inflammation, if you have understood, that means your body is trying to protect itself. So anti-inflammation reactions, those reactions which lower down inflammation. That means those reactions which will lower down the immunity of your body. And in suppression of immunoresponse. What are immunoresponses? Any idea about
Response against-
immunoresponse?
The responses against bacteria and viruses.
Bacteria and viruses. Okay, anybody else would also mention something about immunoresponse?
Production of antibodies against foreign particles that enter the body.
Yes, it is basically how your body is going to identify and then protect itself from these harmful particles, these foreign particles like bacteria and viruses. So it is involved in the maintenance of which system? Very quickly, cardiovascular system, proper functioning of which organ?
Kidney.
Heart.
Yes, heart, of course, kidney, vessels. Heart and vessels will come in which system?
Cardiovascular system.
It produces anti-inflammatory reactions and also functions in suppression of immune responses. It stimulates the production of RBCs. I think everybody knows this, nothing new in this. Just remember any 3 functions. You need not do the entire 5. Whatever you find easy, please do 2. What are the 2 types of corticoids discussed till now?
Mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids.
Yes, mineralocorticoids and glucocorticoids. I'm moving on to the third and the last one. They are sexocorticoids. They are known as androgens. What were mineralocorticoids? Which was the main mineralocorticoid?
Aldosterone.
Aldosterone.
Very good. Which was the main glucocorticoid?
Cortisol.
Cortisol.
Cortisol. So we are moving on to sexocorticoid. So all these 3 corticoids were produced from which tissue of the adrenal gland?
Adrenal cortex.
Very good.
Adrenal cortex.
Adrenal cortex. So this tissue also produces a small quantity of androgenic steroids. That means the sex hormone. What is the name of the sex hormone? I think you've already studied the name of this hormone, androgens. Both in males and females. Very good. These hormones are not secreted directly as androgens. They are secreted as DHEA. They are first secreted as DHEA. Means directly they are not hormones. Later, they will cause to the formation of these sex hormones, that is testosterone and estrogen. Separately, of course, you know. So what is the full form of DHEA? Let's do it one by one. D stands for dehydroxy. Come on, tell me, what does D stand for? Dehydroxy. So we are done with DH. Dehydroxy. Let's move on to E part now. EA. What does EA mean? It's a little difficult, but try speaking it out. Epandrio. Speak out. Epandrio.
Epandrio.
Epandriosterion.
Epandrio.
Epandriosterion. So the entire name becomes dehydroxy epandriosterion. Now, these hormones, I'm talking about which hormone? I'm talking about these sexocorticoids. They will first secrete DHEA. These DHEAs will act as precursors. Precursors means something which is going to start. It will initiate the process of formation of the main sex hormones, that is testosterone and estrogen. Testosterone is which sex hormone? Which sex will you find them?
Male.
Males.
Male.
What about estrogen?
Females.
That is why it was written that this is basically going to happen in both males and females. So which is the third and the last kind of corticoid we have done, which is produced by the adrenal cortex?
Sex corticoid.
Sexocorticoid.
Sexocorticoids.
Sexocorticoids, these hormones are secreted as DHEA. Can you try telling me the full form?
Dehydroxy.
Dehydroxyepinedrosterone.
Yes, dehydroxyepandrosterone. They act as a precursor for which two sex hormones?
Testosterone and
Testosterone and estrogen.
Very good. So it plays a major role in the growth of axial, pubic, and facial hair during puberty in humans. Development of acne are also due to these hormones in young girls. And it also plays an important role in the development of the fetus. So here we have three main functions of sexocorticoids. Growth of these puberty signs that we have: axial, pubic, facial hair. Basically in facial hair in men, pubic hair in women, acne in young girls, and development of the embryo. Now we are done with the hormones. This was my topic, my main target for today. Hormones of the which part? Which is the first issue we have done, children?
Adrenal cortex.
Adrenal cortex.
Adrenal cortex. And in the adrenal cortex also, the first one we talked about adrenal cortex, it had 3 layers. Very quickly, now it is not there on the screen. Let me see how much you remember. Which was the first innermost layer?
zona reticulata.
Zona reticulata.
Excellent. It had a net-like cells. Then the middle layer, which was very wide. What was its name?
Zona
Fasciculata.
The outermost layer, which had 5 sublayers. What was it known as?
Zona
Glomerulosa. Very good. And they produce, all of them collectively produced hormones which are known as?
Corticoids.
Corticoids.
The first category of corticoids is called as?
Mineralocorticoids.
Mineralocorticoids.
Involved, very good. Involved in the balance of which 3 minerals?
Potassium,
Potassium,
phosphate,
sodium, and
sodium.
phosphate.
Okay, the second kind of corticoid we did was?
Glucocorticoid.
Yes, and it was mainly involved in the process. I told you what was the process? Where the
Metabolism of
non-carbohydrates-
Metabolism of
process.
Metabolism
Non-
of carbohydrates, fats,
Peter,
proteins.
the process I'm asking, where the non-carbohydrate sources start producing
gluconeogenesis.
Gluconeogenesis.
Gluconeogenesis. Then in the
Gluconeogenesis.
metabolism of cardiovascular system, functioning of kidney, stimulate the function of RBCs, any 3 functions you can learn. And the last category of corticoids we did was?
Sexocorticoids.
Sexocorticoid.
They first secrete a substance which is a precursor for sex hormones, DHEA. What is the full form of DHEA?
Oxyepandrosterone.
Yes. And then we did the functions. These are some normal functions. See, there are, again, knowledge plus I'm taking from competition view. There is a disease which is called Addison's disease. This is caused by the deficiency of mineralocorticoids. Everybody knows what is mineralocorticoid now. So the deficiency of mineralocorticoid causes a disease which is known as what disease, children? Very quickly.
Addison's disease.
Addison's disease.
We have another disorder which is known as Cushing's syndrome. This is due to excess of corticols. Okay. Basically, an excess of aldosterone leads to a disease or a disorder which is called as aldosteronism. What is it called as? Aldosteronism. If there is excess of aldosterone, there is a disorder which is known as what? It is known as aldosteronism. And the last one is adrenal virilism. This is caused by excess of sex corticoids in a female. So, if there is excess of sex corticoids in a female, there is a development of male secondary sexual characters in females. For example, beard, mustaches in females. So this kind of a disorder takes place if there is excess of sex corticoids. And this kind of a disorder where a female has these female beard and mustaches, male secondary characters, this is known as adrenal virilism. So I've done 3 disorders: Addison's disease. On the WhatsApp, I'll ask questions. Addison's disease, Cushing syndrome, and adrenal viralism. Addison's disease by deficiency of mineralocorticoids,